Pranam Guruji.
Hari Om. Namaste to everyone.
Namaste, sir.
Hey, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. So, Hari Om. So let one of you can do the prayer. Om Gam Ganeshaya Namam Gam Ganeshaya Namam Gam Ganeshaya Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I hope everyone can see this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if the writing works on it. You can have a good look at the horoscope and in the chat, you can type out your views. And as much as possible, please mention the source, the authority. To make it simple, you can look out for each house one by one and see if something is coming up.
So, Guruji, I'm still outside. A couple of key points I see is problem with marriage, relationship. The reason being Rahu Ketus and also with longevity. Rahu Ketu in 2-8 axis. And as well as the 7th Lord is in the 6th house.
7th Lord in the 6th.
And Venus is closely afflicted by Ketu.
Okay, after making, as usual, after making the astrological observation, try to conclude it in layman's term. Like if you say 7th Lord in the 6th, the lay person will not know what it is. So try to make a statement out of it, whatever comes to your mind.
As 7th Lord is in the 5th or the 6th, sir?
6th.
Bhava.
Oh, yeah.
Bhava. Okay.
Bhava, because ascendant is at 3 degrees 55. So if you use equal system, 3 plus 15, 18. So just shifted over to 6th. But even if it shifts over just on the border, it is something important. Because why did he take birth at that time is to ensure that Mars is not in the 5th, it is in the 6th. A little later, it would have remained in the 5th. All those multitudes of people, like who are born after the ascendant moved across. For the rest of the ascendant, everybody would have had Mars only in the 5th and not in the 6th. So don't think that if it is on the border, it cannot give results. It will, because there is a message there. Okay. Otherwise, also, what do you think about 7th Lord in the 5th? You can consider that also. And you should also give weightage to Mars, in which sign it is. It is in the sign of the 5th Lord. There is a connection with the 5th house.
Also the enemy sign. So that's not good.
Yeah, enemy sign. Mars has only one enemy, and that is Mercury, and so on. Right?
That is repeated even in Navamsa, sir. Like Mars is again in enemy's house, like which is in Gemini, also being in 5th house, along with, the other one is 7th Lord in 6th house, even in Navamsa.
Okay, you're adding points. Yeah,
also
but
Lagna Lord in 12th house.
See, now
Lagna
what
Lord
all of you are
12th
doing, you have not made layman's, statements. You only said astrological statements. You didn't conclude it with what do you mean from a layman's point of view. Just
troubled marriage or partner going away. Troubled marriage.
Yeah. So I think as soon as you make a statement, astrological statement, a valid statement, conclude it with the effect of whatever that combination means.
Also, the problems with kids, sir. Being like fifth bhava, Mars in enemy's house, move to even those like sixth house.
Okay.
Fifth lord is also afflicted with Saturn. Problems with marriage as well as with kids. That is double confirmed even in Navamsa. Fifth lord is in 12th.
And Guruji, if this is a male's chart, they will definitely have problem with sperm, as well as there'll be one breakup in relationship because Venus and Ketu are together. Venus for sperm, so that's a double trouble for marriage and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, we see that Mercury and Saturn are, very tight, close together.
Okay. Is a full screen visible to you?
Yes.
Is Ashtavarga visible? Vimshopaka, Shadbala, everything, right? Okay.
Dhilipji, my apologies. I joined a little late.
Guruji, the Yoga Karaka.
Possible to give the birth details so I can draw in the North Indian?
Not at this stage. We'll give it a little later.
Guruji,
okay.
Yeah,
the
just
Yoga
please kindly wait.
Karaka the Yoga Karaka is getting a severe low point in Chadbala. So that's a big negative for the overall chart.
The Yoga Karaka, which is Saturn, in Shadbala is extremely weak, is it? Okay. Okay. I've now zoomed in to show the
80%.
Shadbala. More than the exact values, these graphs are indicators. Like you can see Saturn has become the weakest planet, while it should have been the strongest, right? It should have been. Ideally, you want your the Yoga Karaka strong.
I would immediately recommend them to wear blue sapphire.
Okay, very nice idea. Please wear a blue sapphire to strengthen Saturn. Now,
sir, the Atma Karaka and the Lagna Lord are the same, sir.
Wait a minute. The AK, okay.
It's a Venus, 29 degrees.
Atma Karaka is also the Lagna Lord.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's also the sixth Lord.
The fourth and ninth lords are very closely conjunct in the, fifth and 10th lords. So it's a Trikona and a Kendra lords are closely conjunct, which is also the ninth lord. So this should be a good Raja Yoga.
Wait
fourth bhava.
Wait, where are we? You are saying Saturn and Mercury are conjunct.
In fourth bhava.
10th lords are conjunct, fourth house. Like it.
So fifth, ninth, and 10th lords, two Trikona lords and one Kendra lord are in close conjunction on the same degree in fourth bhava.
Okay.
Guruji, one more point to add. Mars has gone to the sixth house, which means problem with hospitals.
See, now why we are not, 1 minute, Prahlad, why we are not building up on the actual horoscope is because we are only describing the horoscope. Even when you mentioned the most recent statement, you mentioned something about second lord, fifth lord, ninth lord, all that. But then make some 5-6 statements. This is how you practice. Okay, try to make some statements and out of it for a lay person.
Sir, can we say here the Ketu and the Rahu debilitation is cancelled? I mean, Ketu debilitation is cancelled because of Venus being in the same house, sir. Its own house, Ketu and Venus together. Because it's important because it's in. Yeah.
What is debilitated?
Ketu and Rahu are debilitated, and Venus is with Ketu.
Okay.
Because it is Venus' own house. The Ketu's debilitation will be cancelled, right? This is in Kendra also happening.
Okay, because the Lord is also there. Okay. But in reality, it's not a Kendra, at least. These grahas are not in Kendra because the ascendant is way before,
Yeah. So even
But okay, in the Rashi, there seems to be a compensation because the sign lord is also there. It is a kind of a Nicha Bhanga Raja Yoga, right?
because the Venus and Jupiter together in the second house, I mean, the wealth, if it affects wealth or not with the Ketu debilitation. I'm just thinking in that way.
Okay. Slowly try to develop it based on the standard approach of astrology. The problem, the issue is you made a lot of statements, but had you made some statements pertaining to the effects of these combinations, you would have slowly started developing the personality.
But Venus is overall very strong, sir.
Yes.
Venus in the chart is very strong. I mean, and the person has 37 points in the Sarvashtaka Varga. So he is a very strong personality, he or she.
Okay, we will we'll simplify it by admitting that it is a male. It's a man.
Guruji, even in D10 chart, the same combination of Yoga Karaka conjunct with the fifth lord is occurring in ninth house.
Okay.
Yeah. If we see that the D10, the Saturn is exalted, the karma ruling planet.
And it's also Lagna Lord.
Yeah.
See, again, you have not concluded.
Sir, is this person
must
having...
be good, sir.
Now, please understand. Now, basically, lack of confidence or shy to make a statement. We do not know what, but when you're describing astrological reasoning, as you mentioned the astrological reasons, you are supposed to conclude it with normal layman's terms.
Sir, is this person...
Based on that, since the fifth lord is getting involved in both the charts, is it a entertainment industry?
Entertainment, we'll keep it as one option. Anything that catches your attention, you start documenting it.
Sir, if I'm going to do this in layman's terms, and if I'm talking to a client, I would start with their first house because the client will want to know about themselves. So
okay.
I will go to their ascendant, and then I'll tell the client, your ascendant is your first house of self or your personality self is in the sign of Taurus. What this means is when I also explained that on the eastern horizon, it was the sign of Taurus when they were born. And I also explained that all of these planets are like a snapshot or a picture when they were born. So these are all potentials, and it doesn't mean that you're fixed to it. There's always remedies to work with any challenges. And I don't say afflictions because it scares them.
Okay.
The word affliction is okay to use amongst ourselves, but to a client, it scares them. And the better word I use anyway is challenge, because they can work with challenges rather than affliction sounds like a curse. So that's how I say it. But for the first house, I would say something like, okay, your house of self and your personality has the planet Venus, which is the planet of love, beauty, and the arts, and is at home, meaning that it rules this sign of Taurus. So what that means to you is that as a client, you love the arts, you love Venus, you love beauty, you love, and especially being a Taurus, you love luxury. So that means that these are important to you, and it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just that this is Venus's qualities. So to enjoy these, these arts and beauty. Also, Taurus is very grounded. So there's a part of this person is very grounded, but with Ketu there, who's very, who goes upward, and is very spiritually more minded, there might be like sometimes a conflict of having, maybe feeling guilty of having all of these luxuries and then also wanting to be spiritual. Also, sometimes things are, because K2 is one of the smoky planets, I'd say K2 can also cause you to feel like you don't know, you don't have a sense of confidence because of this smokiness that K2 the K2 placement. That's how I would say the first house to a client in layman's terms.
Very good.
Yeah, Guruji, does this person has a mark?
Did everyone understand what Alice Kablan said?
Yes.
If
Yes,
people,
Guruji.
yes, if people want to, either Alice herself can document some statements that has been made, and yeah, then we'll continue. Okay. Others can also type out what she said. I mean, the reason is many in this batch, they always are busy with some other work, and because they're all professionals, and they've been watching the videos after it is put up on Patreon or YouTube membership. Okay, so please be kind enough to document the statements as much as possible.
Sir,
yeah, Guruji, does this person has the mark above his head?
As a mark above his head?
Yeah, mark on his head. Venus, Lagna Lord Venus and Ketu is closely conjunct, and Ketu can give some kind of a mark on his
or a scarring. It's a scarring.
Yeah, scarring.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. I mean, we'll take note of that. And
sir, how about diabetes, sir? Most of the times, like what I have seen, like if Venus is afflicted, especially this also being sixth lord, along with Ketu, I have seen like, some cases of getting diabetes in their early age.
I see.
Yeah, Venus.
So
Jupiter,
one more point, sir. The Venus is debilitated with Ketu together in the Navamsha, sir, which is not good for marriage life, and even in D9 also the seventh lord is in sixth, sir. It is repeating what the others said. So there.
You feel he might have he might have remained unmarried. Or
there is a problem, sir. Even moon in the
divorced.
seventh also. Even moon in the seventh also, it indicates late marriage, sir. 32 years.
I see.
I mean, he will get a wife in his 32nd year. There are problems with women also, we see.
Guruji, I even see problem with his health, especially Mars going to the 6th health aspect, and Mars in enemy sign, and as well as Rahu Ketu in 2-8. So that is, and Venus being afflicted. Lagna Lord is, so see, Venus here is Lagna Lord. So Lagna Lord is afflicted, and Lagna Lord is also debilitated. So that means the first house is taken a severe hit. And then we see Mercury is with close conjunction. He's in a battle with Shani Dev. So that is also another, 5th house is also getting afflicted, and 5th house also has the Mars energy there. And then the 9th is obviously has a very low Shadbala score. So 159 is afflicted with Mars in the 6th. Also, I mean, there's a problem with health and hospitals that can also be taken in when you look at this chart. But that's on the prediction side.
Okay.
So Lagna Lord and the 11th Lord in the second house, conjunct in the second house, then the 9th Lord and the 5th Lord conjunct again. He would have good potential for dhan, sir.
For becoming wealthy. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Guruji, this person is kind of a more female-ish nature.
More female, you're saying?
Yeah, it is because of a couple of things. One is the ascendant itself is like what do you say? the Yugma Rashi, and then there is a close Saturn and Mercury conjunction, and then there is an affliction of Mars and with Saturn, and yeah, I think these are the reason. It is more kind of a female-ish nature.
Mhm. You can type it out in the chat, okay? Or if you have volunteers, others can also do it on the behalf.
Guruji, could we say this is just intuition, so I could be wrong, but I'm going to shoot my shot.
Even if it is intuition, you will have to back it up slightly, you know, it's a minimum.
I have slight backing up, yes. So I was going to say, I'm wondering if this person is a really big Devi Bhakta. So, you know, praise a lot to the goddess. Because I can see the Ketu, which is sometimes Karaka for devotion, and Venus together.
Okay.
And also in the Bhava, you can see Jupiter Ketu. Jupiter Ketu can sometimes give quite strong spirituality, and then Venus being there. So a lot of devotion to Devi. And that's it.
So does he has more health problems, sir? Because Sun in the third, it says.
No, we can also have 1 minute. Can we have another kind of approach to this? Because right now a student made several statements, and for some time we can all, you know, discuss those statements and then try to, you know, like somewhat almost like validating, maybe yes, maybe no. Even we feel like that, but I don't feel, you know, this approach is correct or something like that. Can we can we change our approach to this discussion in this way? Because what's happening is a student makes some statements and then it is you know, almost like buried, you know, like the next student kind of buries it with his own statement. We got to listen and you know, assimilate and wait and ponder and then move on. I mean, astrology is not that easy. Okay.
Guruji, Mercury Saturn conjunction.
See, wait a minute. As I understand the difficulties here, I will also reveal certain facts that would make it, I mean, at least we don't have to go off in some wrong directions. So he's not an Indian. He's not from India. So I'll also give you the clue that he's definitely not a Hindu. Sure. Now the problem when you make statements like the person is a Devi Bhakta or something like that, you'll have to understand that the same combination can be for non-Hindus, could be a Muslim or a Christian or a, you know, maybe an atheist, all kinds of things. So, but if you're only observing Hindus, you will be able to draw, you know, form a pattern. Oh, I've seen these people are always Devi, goddess, you know, devotees. That's something where you're observing. Like, for example, I know from studying faces, but only in India. I can't do that for foreigners. I can't do, because I'm not studying that. So when you're looking for patterns, like whenever I see a particular type of face, I know that this is a nakshatra, but I don't think I can do it for a person from China or from Africa. I don't, because I'm not observing them so often and trying to, you know, memorize the nakshatras. So also you will not be able to say, without knowing more background, certain things you will not be able to discuss. Okay. So
Dhilip,
this is also to be kept in mind.
I think this definitely looks, I mean, I'm trying to observe this chart as a whole. Looks like certainly a very strong personality.
Reason?
Of some, I'll come to the reasons. Of some celebrity status, and certainly attached to the mass. Now, the reasons for all of this is that my focus is so much on the lagna. I'm seeing a very strong lagna, and the closeness of Venus that I see to Ketu gives to me like I think a very strong bent of mind who can probably make some changes. I think this personality is going towards that in my mind, and the conjunction of not conjunction, rather I would say that closeness of Sun and Saturn as well in kind of the 4th lord with the 9th and 10th lord also I think gives that kind of flavor to this chart. Obviously, I think I have to step through, but that's where I'm coming from when I look at the first glimpse on this chart.
Okay.
Also, sir, to add to that, Sun in third house.
1 minute. Can we discuss? Now we are trying to find a new approach. So Jyotish Kasi mentioned something. Now can others say something about what he discussed?
Sir, I can see 1 point, sir. I can add 1 point. The Saturn in the 4th is for mass reputation, sir, as reputation, so from the masses.
Okay.
Along with 5th lord.
Are you saying in support of Jyotish Kasi that
yes.
I think yes, because Saturn is a mass planet
yes,
and it is sitting in 4th house, and 4th house is also okay. Well, in terms of the yogas that are there, can you spot any yoga?
Oh yeah, Dharma Karma Adhipati yoga is there.
Dharma Karma Adhipati yoga. Dharma and karma is ruled
Both,
by the same planet.
The same
both
planet,
4th, 5th, as well as the 4th, 9th.
Yeah, and Guruji, there is an Adi Yoga.
4, 5 are too far apart. So I don't. Yeah, it's more than 20 degrees apart.
So Sun is not able to influence Saturn, whereas Mercury is for sure influencing, right?
Mercury is certainly influencing.
Yeah, it's almost
because,
like can we use the word planetary war?
Yes, sir. Sure. And also, like Saturn and Mercury
No,
both
how
are
can
in.
you use? Hold on. How can you use planetary war? I thought
because they are within 1 degree, right? Saturn and Mercury.
They are friendly planets, though.
22,
Yeah,
25, and
yeah.
20. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Planetary war.
Yeah, maybe yes, he is also partly right, because though in the definition of planetary war, these points are not considered, whether they're friendly or unfriendly. It's just that as soon as they come on the same degree, it's a planetary war. But there is also a conjunction. So there are two things that happens. It can be on both sides. Okay, we'll come back to this because soon we will understand.
Maybe he is famous for his bravery, sir.
Famous for bravery for what reason?
The Sun in the 3rd, it says like that, sir.
Sun in the 3rd will be courageous.
And it is in the Bhava Madhya, near to Bhava Madhya also.
Bhava Madhya is closer to Bhava Madhya. Okay.
It is very strengthy also. I mean, with this Shatbala.
Yeah,
strong.
And one more point is, sir, the ascendant, the AL, AL and Venus, the Lagna Lord, the ascendant, they are in the same, and then the influence of Venus.
Okay.
Aruda Lagna is also in this is the same as ascendant.
AL is a mistake, right? AL can't be in Lagna.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have to check this because I got it from Sri Jyoti, and I have asked Manoj to make it the normal method, and I think he's yet to do that. You can actually shift the AL to
10th house.
10th house, yeah, correct. I mean, that's the reason why we should know the logics instead of depending completely on astrology software, because you got to change the settings. So is UL right?
Yeah, yes, Guruji.
UL is right.
Guruji.
Huh? Okay, yeah.
Guruji, this Mercury Saturn conjunction in Navamsha in the Saturn sign is his sexual orientation in question? And
Which
it
one?
is seventh to Mercury Saturn conjunction in Saturn sign in Navamsha.
Oh, in Navamsha, they're together in Saturn sign. Okay.
And they're opposite, they're right opposite the seventh lord in Navamsha.
Okay.
Many of the things are like completely repeated even in Navamsha, sir. Like someone said, like, he will be wealthy because of Jupiter in second house. That is 11th lord connected to second house, and it is also repeated in Navamsha, sir. Second lord in 11th house, being in own house.
Okay.
And I think it is a point of
some scandal is
significance.
possible. Sorry.
I think it's a point of significance that he was born in the Jupiter Dasha. I think Vishaka Nakshatra, right? Moon 21 will be Vishaka Nakshatra, maybe. So born in Jupiter, followed by Saturn and Mercury. I think that is probably of big significance here.
Yeah, and there is a
starting
famous.
Dasha, Antardasha will be. I think it's is also important to know the starting Dasha and Antardasha.
I think it's Jupiter Sun. It's up there.
No, that was when he was born.
8 years old. When he's 8 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Guruji,
so in
he
his
started his life
prime,
in Jupiter.
in his prime, he must be in Saturn. And then
Guruji, there is a famous yoga called Adi Yoga from Moon. If benefits planets like Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury is in 6, 7, and 8, it is called Chandradi Yoga, and it is mentioned in Jadak Parijada.
Aromal, that yoga is not applying here, Aromal, because if you look at the 6, 7, 8, they are not fully clearly benefics or malefics. They're a mixture, right? One thing I noticed is that this person's benefic dasha would be the moon dasha, moon being exalted, and another reason I noticed is that there will be a lot of Moon is
not
in the
exalted.
sign.
Why is moon exalted?
Moon is not exalted. Sorry. No. One thing I noticed is that the moon, if you take the moon as the lagna, he seems to be hemmed by malefics. And this person would have undergone a lot of agony or anguish or psychological suffering because of that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe imprisonment or something.
Maybe.
Because
and
of the second.
Considering the fact that there's a change in the bhava for moon and Mars, and the same moon is also again hemmed by malefics there also.
Yeah, I agree to that.
So there seems to be a strong factor about the mind of the person being subject to a lot of, what is the exact word for that? Depression, suffering aching.
Correct.
Yeah, Rahu in 8th
And
house, directly looking at the second house, there could be some financial scandal or something also.
Rahu in the second. Sorry,
Rahu
Ketu
in the
second.
Rahu in the 8th.
Okay, we'll say 2-8 axis. Okay.
And also Saturn Mercury conjunction, I can add to that. Because he might be tricky with some manipulate. He could be a manipulator.
Yes,
because
the scandal.
With the money, because Mercury is the second lord, and Saturn and Mercury are very closely together. So he might manipulate some money related to money matters.
Which the scandal can be related to his spouse and as well as sibling, third house. Well, his spouse cheats.
Okay.
So Mercury Dasha, while he may have been very popular or celebrity, but I think Mercury Dasha, he may have had trouble, it looks like.
Why?
Because of its affliction with Saturn. and being the lord of the second and fifth house, while it gives the yoga, it also probably would have given him some setback.
See, that's why we got to give a lot of importance to planetary war, especially if one of the graha is a natural Krura graha like Saturn.
Right.
Okay. So it's
May
better.
I add to Kasiji's statement, Guruji? I feel that his Venus Dasha and the Moon Dasha, I mean, either the Venus or the Moon Dashas or Antardashas are connected with giving him relief from all problems. Reason being Venus, the Lagna Lord, and somehow something tells me Moon is working here for him.
Is it because you think it shifted to the 7th house in the Bhava
Yes,
chart?
Guruji. There is a little confusion where I need some help.
Okay.
So how do we get that Moon into the frame? How do we read it when the Moon is gone to the 7th house?
One, we can say Moon is definitely a minus in the 6th and plus in the 7th. Right?
Yeah, that is a contradiction that is actually getting me on my nerves. I mean, it's getting on my nerves because I'm not able to fix the proper.
No issues. We just add up more points, and so.
But one thing for sure is Venus Dasha, Guruji. I'm betting my luck on Venus Dasha being good for him.
But why do we have to go that far? I think you may be right, but I think the prime, when you look at it, he has gone through Saturn Mercury, right?
Yeah,
so
he's already exhausted.
Saturn Mercury, you're analyzing half of his life. So I think that while Saturn would have given him all kinds of fame and whatever he was,
No, the reason why I don't believe on Saturn is because Saturn is also not in full power mode, right? The place where Saturn is doesn't seem to be giving.
But then let's analyze now what Saturn will give. I mean, that's his prime, correct?
No, we're talking about the energy level of that graha, in terms of performance. I think it was in yesterday's class that Guruji was asking about which is more important, and there was this point that came up that the graha is more important than the house. But here the quality of Saturn is not up to the mark. So Saturn Dasha may not be giving that much of fruit. I may be wrong, Kasiji. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong,
where I was going was, the Saturn's affliction to Mercury. I'm looking at, 2nd, 5th, and even the 8th house for that matter, 8th Lord in the 2nd. So it seems to me like certainly there was some setback during his Mercury Dasha. I'm not, whether in terms of confinement or whatever it is, because when I'm again going by the personality that I'm trying to picturize in my mind, a strong personality of, which is closeness to the mass, and may have brought some kind of changes with Saturn, right, during the Saturn Dasha. While that would have given him the fame in Mercury Dasha, it would have probably given him the setback. Beyond that, I haven't yet gone towards what would have happened in Ketu, Venus, etc.
Sir, did he pass away around 71, sir?
How did he calculate 71?
Just Ketu, Rahu, 2-8 axis.
Okay. Yeah. No, he didn't. I don't think so.
He had a long life. He had a long life because of Moon in the 7th, I guess, Guruji.
He had a long life.
Or Moon in the 6th. Yeah.
He had a long life.
Sir, he has two mothers, or does he has two mothers, sir? Or two wives?
Whatever you say, make the astrological statement, because it will always be useful. Split it into two parts. Give reasons for both separately.
Yes, sir. Saturn in the 4th, in Sutram, it is
taken care by two mothers. Oh.
Yeah, Saturn 4th, there will be loss of mother after the death of his mother. The native will get a stepmother. He says.
Actually, politics is something that we overlooked probably because of Saturn and Sun. Politics and government.
Both government and acting.
I think we are again going all over the place. I think maybe it is better to
The
discuss that one thing.
reason why it's difficult is when you get a clue from one student, um, when I was studying botany, the professor said something about how the tendrils from a plant goes and finds itself like all the creepers have this, like how they coil around. And he told me how it does it is it keeps sending like this, and if it finds nothing, it pulls it back again into the plant and then tries in another direction, tries it here, tries there, like that. So I found out this is the same method detectives use, or I think even chess players use. They follow one line and then finally say, oh, no, it's not working, then come back. But what you're doing, you're telling a point, going in one direction, just quitting that whatever a student said and not pursuing whether to see something more is emerging by just chasing the clue. You understand? We are not doing that. That's the reason why it's all hanging here and there. So once a student has put in effort to describe something, do not dismiss it off with your own point. You wait, discuss that, and then move ahead. Because what?
Is this Bhagya through mother?
Huh?
Is he get like any inheritance or Bhagya through mother and father, sir? Because ninth and fourth connection.
Okay.
Like Bhagya through like his hometown or from his mother or parents, inherited lots of money, or related to career is like inherited from
Can also
parents.
add motherland also, right? Madam?
Motherland.
Yeah.
Motherland. That also is motherland.
May I say something about what Guruji just said? I agree with Guruji. This is a science of light, and we have to remember that the light of the Jyotirvidya is coming through us, whoever's speaking. So it's important to absorb and assimilate what was just said, so that it can enlighten us and enlighten our clients. And
Correct.
Especially when Guruji's talking, I sometimes get, I'm sorry, but sometimes I get annoyed when people cut him off, because he's the guru and he needs to finish his sentence. So I would humbly ask that you not cut off Guruji when he's talking, because there's a lot of light coming through him, and sometimes I miss it when someone cuts him off and interrupts him. So I just humbly ask that, we respect each other in that way. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll start giving clues, because we've been discussing for some time. Surprising that this person lived till 95. Okay, he lived till 95. It's a male anyway.
Can I ask a question, Dhilip?
I figured out who it is, but I'm not going to say.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
So I don't know why I'm so dead focused on Mercury Dasha, because of the planetary war. I'm trying to again look at the second house, fifth house, eighth house being so vulnerable. Did anything cause him a major setback during Mercury Jupiter, or Mercury Rahu, or Mercury Saturn especially, in terms of isolation or something of that sort?
Yeah, respectfully, I think we just got a clue, but we are getting distracted by going to some other dasha. I think Sir just mentioned this person lived long. Can we delve deeper into why they lived long? Can we look at 8th
Even
house?
though Rahu is in the
Lord?
8th, right? You were saying?
Yeah, so maybe we should discuss that rather than, I think we are also losing the hint here by going elsewhere.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, we will follow that. Yeah, that lead.
Kasi, was when he mentioned something about Mercury Dasha, he was bang on target. I think Kashi said 3 periods in inside Mercury, I think. What was that he
Mercury
said?
Rahu, Mercury Jupiter.
Mercury.
Mercury Saturn.
Mercury Saturn. Okay. A major event happened that changed his life forever in Mercury Rahu.
And one more.
I think from here on, I'll shut up and listen.
And one more clue on his personality. There are all the planets are in first 6 or 1 to 7 houses. So
which one?
All the planets are on from 1 to 7 houses. So which means like it is more of an introvert kind of a. So 1 to 7 is kind of a person like our personal related details, and from 6 to 12 are actually our they maybe from public details. This person could be more of an introvert.
Introvert, okay. We'll keep that in mind. Huh? So,
like someone said that about fame, masses, and Mercury Dasha.
Okay.
I mean, politics. I think there's a big connection there.
I don't remember. I do not remember the students who mentioned all that. If you, I mean, if you give an opportunity to the students, to whoever was the student who spoke about particular something very specific about this person, they can come back to the stage and
Now, those points were mentioned by Kasi ji, Sai.
Oh, Kasi, okay.
One more point here. You were asking about longevity. Why Rahu Ketu 28 did not, the sloga did not work? Okay. Because of Jupiter and Venus being so close with Ketu, automatically Jupiter is also probably having an aspect on the 8th house, that means on Rahu. So that prevented that sloga from playing out.
Okay.
So that did not, the Rahu Ketu did not reduce the lifespan for the native. And Venus in Lagna, by default, although it's not Lagna in the Bhava chart, but by default, it's meant that you live for 100 years, if we just look at the Rashi chart.
And another point to add to that, Guruji, would be that the Venus Dasha started after all the Marak Dashas were over. So at the time when he was getting old, that was the time when the Lagna Lord's Dasha was starting. So obviously in the Lagna Lord's Dasha, you cannot have an end of life.
Okay.
So that could be that the beginning of a new version of life, or extension of life.
But we cannot ignore the fact that Lagna Lord is also a 6th Lord for this ascendant, and Lagna Lord is one of the functional malefic to Taurus ascendants. So definitely, like whatever like Sai and Jyotish Kasi ji said, functional benefits for this ascendant is Saturn and Mercury, and they are placed in 4th house.
Okay.
Even though like Shadbala is like very low for Saturn, definitely like he must have gotten like name and fame in his homeland, wherever he is.
So did he get elected or something during Mercury Rahu, given that Rahu is in 7th house and, gives prominence in the public space?
Rahu is not in the 7th. Rahu is in the 8th.
Maybe we can see the Dasha Antardasha results for Mercury and Rahu.
I think he did like audience and also Purnima said he definitely probably got elected if he was in politics.
What is the reason? What is the astrological reason?
Saturn, all the 4th house being powerful, and Sun going to the 3rd is all about having a lot of servants. Yoga Karaka going to the 4th house being very, very strong. And the other side of Mars being in the 6th is winning enemies, competition.
And 4th house is also thrown, so it could be adding to that.
Okay.
Maybe Jyotish Kasi can say whether it is good or bad, first of all. Mercury Rahu. The good effect or bad effect.
No, he doesn't.
According to
he doesn't know anything about the person.
No. He got the point right. That means he must know whether it is good or bad.
Pavani, my focus was that it is giving adverse setbacks. That was my focus on Mercury, Rahu, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. I was looking at isolation or something of that sort.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, let's study Mercury alone now, because first of all, let's congratulate Kasi for the statement he has made, because this is the turning point of his life. Mercury Rahu. So when we understand that he is guided by intuition also, it's not so easy, because he could even have said maybe even Mercury Saturn he would have said, and I think you did say Mercury Saturn, I don't remember, but
yes,
when Purnima said that Rahu is in the 7th, what she missed was Rahu is actually in the 8th. See, the planets, when you talk about results in human life, if you think Rahu is about death, it's partly true also. Okay. That Rahu in the 8th is very troublesome. You can see that throughout the book, Brihad Parashara Horashastra. And many people in India, even professional astrologers, think Mercury is a mild planet. It's not. Can anybody say why Mercury can be sometimes so bad? Just common sense and plain philosophy description about whatever you know from astrology mixed with philosophy, common sense, everything. Why do you think Mercury would sometimes be very, very malefic in nature? Philosophy.
So Mercury is about intellect. If intellect goes wrong, sorry.
Okay. Very good. That's a good way to start.
You will become good, and if you are with bad, you will become bad.
Exactly. So, like whatever our past life sins were created by the buddhi factor, the intellect, the reason why you selected, you made those choices, and that led to karma. So it's highly, in a way, it is also the essence of human beings. Only human beings can do this. Animals can't. So all our Icha Shakti is Mercury. Okay, this is one way. But from Kala Purusha, anything comes up, why Mercury could be such a bad graha? Because in the 6th house, our disease, deaths and enemies are based upon, in Kala Purusha, Mercury. So just think about it. How will we have disease? How will we have debts, how will we have enemies? Except through our mind. So the mind, the intellect is the reason for all that. So because of your choices, you eat certain things, you drink certain things, and then you want more money, you go for loans and then get into trouble. Or you want the other person something and then you create enemies and so on. So Mercury can be very bad. In certain cases, at least. Here, Mercury is in a war with Saturn, the Yoga Karaka. So this is one of the reasons why we should always give importance to the same degrees. I think the same degree thing we have mentioned in many of our discussions. And Rahu in the 8th, it's kind of a, extremely harmful to have Rahu in the 8th.
And the 8th house is getting aspect of Mars also.
Now, what I'll do, I will just show you this for the sake of, is it now visible for everyone up to the last line? Up to the last line are able to see, or do you think I should lift it up like this?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
See, sir.
If I drop it like this, can you see it?
H12. Yes.
You can't see H12.
No, I do see.
Okay, then fine. H12 is the last one. H1 starting from that. And then the planetary aspects are there. I'm not sure about the Rahu Ketu because I don't know with Manoj, set it up to the normal, method. Sorry. I'll keep it here. Okay. So can you, by using these two tables, come up with some ideas?
8th house is getting the aspect of Jupiter and Venus, sir.
Whenever you see this, these two tables, what should you first look for?
For hundreds.
100. Okay, very good. Can you look for any 100 except the Rahu Ketu looks at each other at 100?
12th house from Mars.
12th house Mars receives 100. Okay. Can you develop on this in connection with? I'll tell you one thing about all of you. You have actually described the person. It's all over. It's done. But now, because you didn't chase the clue, you do not know which one is it. Okay. So now we are going to. I've given you an indirect clue that you have actually finished the reading.
Sir, scandal in Mercury Rahu period leading to imprisonment?
Yeah, I was imprisoned in Mercury Rahu. Okay. Can you say why imprisonment?
The Mars aspect on 12th house, 100% aspect.
What is so special about Mars?
It's his 12th lord, sir.
It is 12th lord.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It's a neutral planet to Taurus ascendant, sir. And based off of the position, like we can decide whether it gives good or bad.
Okay.
It is also Maraka, 7th lord.
As 7th lord, it is Maraka, right?
Yes, sir.
And what will Rahu indicate? Suppose for an ordinary person, now we know he lived long. Okay, he lived long. But if Rahu is in the 8th, what does it normally indicate? It's dangerous, right? Dangerous to have.
Very dangerous, sir.
It is almost like death.
At the age of 32, 45 and 60, sir.
Yeah, that's a separate result. But because now we have Dasha and Antardasha, I'm saying, one second.
Only his third marriage worked out, right?
Huh?
Only his third marriage worked out.
Third marriage, why?
Because, see, can you scroll up?
Your voice is like too much cracking sound. Why is that?
I'm on a different device.
Huh?
Afflicted Mercury. Just kidding.
No. Can you scroll up? I mean, I want to see the UL.
You want to see the UL?
Yeah. The UL Lord is going 6 from. In only the Rashi chart, the UL Lord is going 6 from placement, which is bad. And also 8th from UL again. Also 2nd from UL Jupiter. It's a dual sign that's talking about multiple marriages. And 8th from UL has Mars, so second marriage also did not work out. From the second, when we see third marriage probably worked out.
Okay, congratulations. He got married the third time.
What about mothers, sir? Just want to ask. Has only one mother or two mothers?
Oh, two mothers, huh? Okay.
It is from two combinations, sir. Saturn in the fourth indicates two mothers and Sun in the third indicates two mothers. And the two wives combination is also from Moon in 7th and Venus in 2nd, sir. From both, he will get married after 32 years like that, it says.
I mean, definitely problem with marriage. Venus Ketu, around Lord in the 6th.
But why imprisonment, sir?
Okay, now Pavani, congratulations. He was taken care by another mother.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So a lot of astrologers.
Sir, if Pavani can repeat that, please, sir, that I missed it. It'll be good to know.
Yes, Pavani.
Saturn in the 4th and Sun in the 3rd indicates two mothers. He has both the combinations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, now what we can all do is, while the discussion is on, 3 or 4 of us can actually just go through Lords of Lagna, Lords of Houses in 12 houses, that idea, and Bhrigu Sutram, planetary positions. So one by one, you can try to at least make statements that will soon, give you like confidence in astrology. Okay. So, wait a minute.
So starting with, Lords of various houses. Lagna Lord in 2nd, gainful, scholarly, happy, good qualities, religion.
Yeah, like this.
Many wives.
Many wives. Okay.
Second Lord and 4th would be.
See,
all kinds of.
This person's mother took him to the great place, palace, somewhere, where he is entrusted something to another person, and that person took care of this person as his own child, raising him alongside with their own son and daughter. So that is, first of all, hats off to the rishis who gave us this knowledge. First, let us bow down to Maharshi Parashara and to all the Maharshis like Sage, Bhrigu, Jaimini, everyone, and say Hari Om to all of them. And then praise our students who are slowly trying to find out certain things just by looking into a person's horoscope. That's not an easy thing. Okay, it's very difficult. And sometimes, today, if you are not able to find something, don't be discouraged. You can always, next, it's like when you play a game today, when I played the games in the club, it was all horrible. I was making a lot of mistakes. That doesn't discourage me. Tomorrow I'll play it better. Okay. So don't worry if you're not getting certain points in this chart. See, in between, you made several statements. They were all bang on target, but then you didn't chase that clue. I hope you understand what you mean by chasing that clue, right? You know that, right? What do you mean by chasing the clue?
We are throwing the points just like that, and we are
just moving on to another point. So you have to go after that. How a lion hunts or any animal in the forest, they just target one, keep on going towards that. And if it fails only, they stop and look for another. They will never be confused. Animals have that instinct. You must see a lion or a tiger or any of these things, the apex predators. Out of 100 deers, they won't look at any other deer except that one deer. The reason is if you look at everything, you will never get a deer at all. You will be hungry for the rest of your life. Okay.
A disciplined way is to quickly write down competing thoughts, but go straight on stay fixated on one idea to keep eliminating why it cannot work.
Exactly. Yes, that's the best way. That's why I keep insisting, you can start documenting. Some of you can start typing it out. It'll be very interesting to go back through the chat once again at the end of the video. I always add it up. Okay, very nice. We're getting a lot of points.
Who's the person? Can we know or like?
Okay, so I'll say something. This is not
one observation I wanted to say. I think we have not spoken about it. The 3rd, 6th, 11th, 10th, and 11th seem to be giving him a lot of challenges. The 3rd, 6th, 10th, 11th, Upachaya.
No, in between.
He has to overcome. Yes.
Yeah, but in between, I think somebody mentioned the sun in the 3rd makes a person valiant, courageous, and so on. Who was that?
Yeah.
Pavani? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's in the Bhavamadhya. It's near to Bhavamadhya also.
Yeah, so these Bhavamadhya things, you'll have to give a lot of importance. Huh? All of you should remember that. If you see the Lagna degree has 3 degrees and sun is at 1 degree, surely the sun is dominating here in terms of guts.
And it's Vargottama also, sir.
Yes.
But you also asked about the Mercury, right, Guruji, from Kalapurusha. Could it be that it is the most sensitive graha because it is 3rd and 6th?
It's actually, when Buddha spoke at length about what really is creating our karma, he said it is only those thoughts. Only the thoughts. And because of these things, it comes in the form of sin, and sin leads to disease, deaths, and enemies, and all of that. So Mercury is truly, it's doing its 6th house contribution as per the Kalapurusha. Something you'll have to give a lot of weightage to. And I'll tell you, surprisingly, many of my clients went to jail in Mercury Mahadasha or Mercury Antardasha. They got into severe loans, or they got into severe stomach problem, or this problem or that problem, because it is on the 6-12 axis, You see, that 6-12 axis is very interesting axis, because on that axis, you have on this side, Mercury gets exalted in the 6th, and on the opposite side, Venus gets exalted. They're totally opposite. That one is for enjoyment and all this, and this is for the intelligence part. So totally different. It's a reward of our punya, Venus. Okay, so they try to, almost like being opposites. So whenever you look at Mercury, please don't dismiss it off as not a karmic graha. It has its own karma. Every graha, none of them you can just push it away by saying, oh, only these planets are more karmic in nature. Okay.
Sir, is it Nelson Mandela?
What?
No.
Nelson Mandela. Yeah, it is.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So when he went to jail, now think about it. See, now it also means all of us should become a little bit of philosophers. Okay. So when a person goes 27 years in prison, is it not almost like rebirth? Have you not, you may say no, the person is still alive, but that's only from a certain point of view. You are inside the prison for 27 years.
We'll become crazy, sir, normally. 27 years, it's not
Can you
possible for now.
imagine 27 days? Can you imagine 27 hours in prison, 27 days, 27 weeks, and 27 years? You have no idea how long that is. When I'm sitting in the flight, even for 3 hours itself, I'll keep staring at the watch, how long it is going to take. Okay. When I was in the hospital for appendix operation in my Rahu Dasha, as soon as it began, because it is in my 7th house, just 7 days in hospital, I could not manage. I wanted to get out and start doing my weights again. I wanted to swim. I wanted to cycle. Can you imagine put inside a prison? 27 years. For what? No crime. You're not a criminal. Of course, it all depends on whose side you are. So the other side person is going to say you're a criminal. That's why he is arrested. Okay. But he had something to stand for. Otherwise, why you think he would have been given the awards? So some of you got it very, perfect. But you seem to have missed the point that when grahas are in the 4th house, it also looks at the 10th. Correct.
Karma house.
So, those are the things that you should pay attention to. Always in astrology, give a lot of importance to the axis. Okay. So now I'm going to show you this aspect table here. I hope it is in focus. Is it out of focus? You let me know. Okay. Is it okay? Can you see it? I think this is better, I think, right?
Yes.
Can you see his 10th house all filled up? His 10th house is all filled up.
Exemplary marks.
71, 63, 25, 90, 95, 45, 90, 83, all of them filled up. So much of karma. But the most important thing is Mars aspecting the 12th at 100%. So
its own house aspecting is not helping here, sir. Not at all.
Not an enemy.
Yeah, that's the point. It brings more of that whenever you say it's aspecting, especially if you want to use that rule, you have to be very careful with that rule. One of my teachers taught me that rule works very well if it is directly opposite, not this special aspects. Directly looking, that one is good.
And you said if this was somebody else, they could have also been in a hospital because Mars looking at the 12th.
Yeah,
many times.
If you had told me he must have been long time in hospital, also it's right because you cannot easily find out. But I have seen Mars connection to 12th house is that, but Rahu Antardasha. If Rahu is in the 8th, one of the statements made by Maharishi Parashara is imprisonment itself. The word imprisonment appears in BPHs all over the place for Rahu in the 8th house or 12th, not 6th house. He doesn't say 6th. Of course, it's not that easy. So don't bother. Don't belittle yourself by saying, "Oh, I didn't find out." Some of you were not able to see it. It's okay. So in 1962, he goes to prison. What is his age? Now, one of you, some of you can get into Wikipedia, Nelson Mandela.
It can be, we can see in the Dashanta Dasha, sir, 1962. Age here.
44.
At the age of?
44.
44.
Guruji, I had a hunch right at the beginning, but when I checked his birth time, it was 1918. So your Vimsadhari Dasas, the way that you are displaying, started from 1927. So I kind of thought that is not the case.
Okay. So
in fact, I started off at the very beginning itself, which is a very impactful life, by looking at 10, 11, and 12. there is a crescent. 10 to 11 is a very high increase, and 11 to 12 is a short decrease.
Okay.
They say that that such a pattern has existed for President Lyndon Johnson, President one of the presidents. It seems to be that it's a very, very impactful life. That is the way I was starting.
Very good. See, that's what it's not that you have to get it perfectly, okay? Because the same horoscope, if it had come 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, it won't be the same type of Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison. It won't be like that. It will still be somewhat, imprisoned and not exactly getting Nobel Peace Prize. Everything won't repeat. So those are the things that are not really of concern to us. What is our concern is what is his experience? What is that he wanted? See, the thing, let me complete. In Brihasutram, the time of death, the years of death, Sage Bhrigu hints for Rahu and Ketu on 2.8 is 32, 45 and 60. I've noticed sometimes it is coming very close to that 1 year gap. So we do not know what is an age exactly. Like when you say, is it beginning or ending, or is it you finished 45 or you're yet to finish 45? So always whenever I read in my consultations, I will never say 30, 32. I'll say 31, 32. I'll always say 44, 45 and 59, 60. It is because I know something can come around that period. The seeds will be sown during that time. So this was, I think, 44, right? When he was 44, he was. So it's almost like death, an entire phase of his life. 30 years, 27 years. Okay. But those of you...
But how come Saturn, sir?
Another mentioned it is 37. House number 1, 10, 11, and 12. Those are the 4 that really have very high Ashtanga numbers.
Okay.
That seems like a strong personality. I mean, someone else made that remark. Okay. And then I made the remark on 10, 11, and 12 being a very significant increase from 10 to 11, and then reasonable decrease from 11 to 12. That seems like an impactful departure in the world.
Okay. See, one way of looking at it. How often do you see in Sarva Sharga the score in the first house is so high?
37, that's too much, sir. Yeah.
Whenever you see such high score, you'll have to first say, you are a survivor no matter what. You can't be killed. You understand? You can't be finished off. You will come back like, the non-existing bird, so you will rise from the ashes. So 37 points in Lagna and 38 points in fulfillment of desire. Of course, 12th unnecessarily has some high points, but then Saturn's weakness, Saturn is called the imprisonment planet. So Saturn's weakness allowed the event to happen. The 27 years, according to when I read about him, to me, it looked like 26 years, Saturn, and then 27 was the release year. Okay. Of course, that's only numerology part. But if you say, those of you who are interested in numerology, Mars rules number 9. And so 27 years will also be 2 plus 7, 9. And then Mars is looking at, these are other dimensions in deriving meaning out of everything. So always look out for rare events. The rare event in this chart is why these two grahas are in the same degree, Mercury and Saturn. And then correctly, Mercury did that job because it is kind of a Purva Punya. And in a way, Mercury is kind of bothered because his house, his Rashi, the best. Mercury has 2 Rashis. The dearest one for him is Kanya, Virgo. that got occupied by Mars. So that's what I always tell you, that before you get into the Bhava method of reading, because here, the Bhava is only for finding the house address where you use Brigasutram or lots of houses in different houses. But in reality, Mars is afflicting Mercury's place. And what is Mercury? 2 and 5th Lord of reward, award. And prison is just the opposite of that. I mean, you can tell the government don't have to praise me at all, but don't put me in prison. But then ultimately, all the aspects on the 10th house, very extraordinary, powerful Lagna like this, in the Sarvasharga, everything, allowed him to, after facing the consequences of his past life, he finished that. And so what was he fighting for?
I think it was the apartheid movement, sir, against the discrimination.
Yeah, the anti-apartheid movement. But from his point of view, what is he fighting for? He's fighting for his own home, his own people, right? So that is the conflict of Grahas in his home, house of home. So you people came very close. Most of you came very close by adding points here and there. So in a way, if you look at the other side people, for them, he's a villain, right? But later, when you look at the concepts, he was fighting for democracy. I mean, because in democracy, everyone is equal. No discrimination. So no racial discrimination. And so on. And it is
May I make
because
one submission? Sorry.
black, the topic of black is Saturn. Okay. So Saturn's minus score indicates that. So he was made to fight for that color. And then he had to go to jail for that. So it's all a long story of philosophy on why you were assigned that job. But he ended up with a lot of awards, and then to top it all, Nobel Peace Prize. But at what age? He must be, you can calculate, no? When he went to jail, it was 44. And when he came out, when was that? I think 1990. 1989, 1990, something. You can go through Wikipedia and find out. Okay.
The one submission, sir. Would you agree that there is a Bandhan Yoga, sir, in his ascendant, with the ascendant Lord and the 6th Lord being conjunct with Ketu?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All of you were very close, but then you didn't, chase that clue. There is a Bandhan Yoga because of the 6th Lord connection on the, and then 6th house and Lagna Lord are the same, and then they got connected with Rahu and Ketu. Okay.
Guruji, one doubt regarding Mercury Dasha. Why did the imprisonment have to happen particularly in Mercury? Because Mercury is in 4th house, it's not badly placed, right? And it's sitting with the Yoga Karaka also.
What?
Why did the imprisonment have to happen in Mercury Mahadasha? Because Mercury is in 4th house. It's not connected to 12th.
Okay. I think now some of the students know the answer. So can you try to say why in Mercury Mahadasha the imprisonment happened? Okay, shall I? Is this screen visible fully from end to end?
Guruji, one point I'll add. When Mercury Mahadasha started, it is activating Mars, and Mars is looking at the 12th house. Because Mercury will activate its own Rashi sign, so 2nd house will get activated, as well as the 5th house will get activated. Mars will get activated, so Mars is looking at the 12th. The results of Mars will start to play out. That's part one. Apart from that, there is Saturn. I think you guys can say it.
The imprisonment happened during Mercury Mars period, Guruji, or Mercury Rahu. Am I right?
Mercury Rahu.
Okay.
So Mercury for the reason that Sai Prahlad just mentioned, and Rahu for the reason that it's in the 8th house. But even assuming, in the 7th house, it's participating in the Bandhan Yoga.
Which one? 7th house?
Rahu is in the 8th house, sir. So given for the reason that Sai Prahlad mentioned for Mars getting activated and Mars looking at 12th house and Rahu being in the 8th house caused this in the Mercury Rahu period, sir.
Correct. A very important point, though it was not explicitly mentioned by any student, is that Rahu Ketu is debilitated.
I did, sir.
You said, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please do not take this lightly, this debilitation of Rahu exaltation. Though, people see, because Rahu's nature is like that to confuse us. Now, once when there was one guy who was guiding me in this, he knows nothing of astrology. And he made me write, certain statements in my own software. He asked me, what is Rahu? I said, it's not visible. Oh, so you mean it's a shady graha? Okay. So it's always in the shadows. Okay. You can't see it. It's invisible. And, so he made me coin some terms for it. And those have been used in my software. And so in one of the statements, he said, being a shadow planet, it remains, it is hidden. You can't see the result, something. I said, how do you know so much? He said, yeah, because it's a shadow planet, it must be hiding. Okay. So because of its nature, confusion and all that, astrology is also confused. Even when Maharshi writes about it, he says, many have given different opinions. When? 5,000 years ago. So how do you expect people today to give you a good result? I mean, something about Rahu and Ketu properly? They'll be confused. If you go through the YouTube and articles, every house is, somebody will say, no, I think Rahu is debilitated in Virgo, or here or there. Each one will say, according to me, according to me. And you never know this. But the truth is, I have seen that Rahu and Ketu this way in Scorpio and Taurus, they have been very bad. But this bad is so bad because it afflicted the Venus itself, the Lagna Lord. And that's why the imprisonment happened, at least in Rahu Antardasha. But Mercury, because, okay, can you say something about what is the most important thing about imprisonment in terms of experience, of the human experience in imprisonment? Comparison to something else.
Same repetitive thing we keep doing every day.
No, not that. Okay.
Going away, sir.
Huh? Going away. Yeah, correct. Okay, at least in this context.
Like a mini death, sir.
Pardon me?
So like a mini death, social death.
Okay. See, now I want to tell all of you that the 5th house is actually called the house of reward. What could be the opposite of reward?
Punishment.
Punishment. That's all. Imprisonment is the highest punishment. When you are free, you have the entire world. Wherever you want, you can go. Whoever you want to meet, you can meet. Whatever you want to eat, you can eat. So something quite different. It's horrible to be in that place. Maybe as horrible as maybe the ICU room in the hospitals. But not that bad, because it's still, they got AC and doctors are there. They're trying to help you out and so on.
Which I got like something. No, I got a very interesting point from what you said. Opposite of the 5th house,
correct,
which is imprisonment.
Yeah.
Now, imprisonment is a 12th house, and that is 8th from the 5th. So can we add logic to other houses? Like, for example, 8th from any house can be the worst of whatever the house signifies.
Yeah, to an extent, you can say that, right? We can use that. That's the same idea we're using in Dasha and Antardasha reading, where the Antardasha is in the 8th from the Mahadasha Lord, almost on those lines, because 8th is like a twisted thing. But now in the context, because some student asked, why did Mercury do it? Mercury did it because Mercury happens to be the, in connection with Mars, where Mars became the 12th lord in the 5th sign. It's still the 12th lord in the 5th sign. So the dispositor is Mercury. So that's the reason why many astrologers, without using Baba chart, got wonderful predictions all these years. Because you will get totally certain other things here, which you might miss by not staring at the Rashi chart for a long time. You'll quickly go to the Baba chart and you'll only read it as, okay, 12th lord is in the 6th, or 7th lord is the 6th, marriage failure was there, all that. He was married 3 times. I don't know if 3 is the correct answer. You can find out from Google, from Wikipedia.
3 times.
3 times. Okay. So, so I gave another clue about Mercury. That Mercury, because in Kala Purusha it rules the 6th house. So why do people go to jail? Normal context, or at least why Nelson Mandela went? His enemies. His enemies. To his own people, he's the hero. So that's how you do it. But the planetary war should never be ignored. Please don't take it lightly. I'll again repeat this. What are the chances that in a 360-degree sky, 9 planets only are there? Out of 9, what is the possibility for 2 grahas to be in the same degree? Do you know it's very rare? So Saturn affliction, Saturn's weakness, Saturn in minus in Shadbala, allowed him to be in jail, for the black reason, for the Saturn reason.
Yeah.
You get the point?
So even though Saturn is Yoga Karaka, still it did not help the Mercury.
No, because Yoga Karaka got into a war and became the weakest graha. Then how can you say it is great? When you are in what do you call that, biology group, and then you fail in biology, what are you then? We'll say, you should never have come into this biology. You're strong in English subject, you should have gone there. Are you with me in this?
Yes, sir.
This is very important. So the worst things are happening when the Yoga Karaka is in trouble. What did the Maharshi say when the 5th lord is in the 6th? Fall from position. From a high position, the person will fall down if 5th lord is in the 6th. You say, no, but he's benefic. He's the best planet for this Lagna. That is the point. Oh, that big graha, you have failed. Your main subject is maths and you failed. So they'll definitely throw you out of that college, because that is your main subject. And I think Sai immediately said he should have worn blue sapphire. That's a very good idea. But there are so many other nice things that has happened. A fully active, Lagna is very strong in Ashtakvarga. So on and so forth. If you do more research, I'm sure you can find out. Okay. Wait a minute.
Sir, one more point, sir. The Rahu, can we say Rahu is in Gandanta, sir? It is debilitated, and one more point just to add.
Let's use Gandanta as the last degree. Let's not dilute it. It's not in the last degree, or the first degree of the crossover between water and fire sign. Okay, so 0, that is 1 minute. I'll show you that later. But just consider the 1 degree alone. Don't dilute it by generally saying it is the edge. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to teach you a technique. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I want to say something about when you read our BPHs, sometimes you see the Maharshi will write from the from the ascendant this position, good, bad. From Dashanath, good, bad. Second set of paragraphs. And after that, you will see that Maraka thing. Okay, only three things for three different paragraphs. Sometimes he doesn't explain like that. He says, okay, from this itself, you pick up that information. So when you go through maybe Maharshi must have said all that, but it never got documented or we lost those texts. So wherever it is not provided, please use it as common thing. You understand? You have BPHS, anybody? Volume 2? Dashadhyaya. Can you go through Mercury Rahu just to see why he got arrested? Anyone? Or shall I take the book?
There is the imprisonment, sir, but it is with if Rahu is associated with Malefic or Malefics in the 8th or 12th from the Lord of Pleasure. But it is not the case, sir.
Yeah. You see that? And has he given the clues for understanding from ascendant if Rahu is in the 8th?
Yes.
Has he given?
There is one more point, sir. Loss of wealth, rheumatic fever, and indigestion with the be the result if the Rahu be in the 8th or 12th from the ascendant. It is the case, sir. But
yeah, now I'll tell you. Now I'll tell you. Whatever is written for from Dashanath, that paragraph, you use it for from ascendant as well. Always. Do you get my point? That is, whatever is written from Dashanath in that placement, you read it from ascendant also. Because it is something very specific. And then we have Rahu as a destroyer of life at the age of 44, 45. As we mentioned from Bhrigu Sutra. Fine. Okay. So we got, why we are struggling is because of not following or chasing the clue. Slowly, somebody says, as soon as somebody hints politician, we say, wait, let's try to see, is he famous? Has he got combinations for name and fame? Is he a bold? Somebody in the beginning said, very female type something, feminine, but sun in the 3rd is courage, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, Nelson Mandela escaped. The same combination could have ended up in the hospital.
Yeah. Okay. It would have been difficult. But then, okay, long time suffering because of the Saturn-Mercury fight.
So may I request you to explain, sir? So may I request you to please explain what happens in the fight? If who's the winner and how does it help the planet?
In a fight? No. I never like to talk about the winner because I somehow feel these are all, what to say, intellectual activities that are best avoided. Because according to me, the fight is never over. The fight is there in the chart permanently. Okay.
So both planets involved take a beating.
Yeah, because if I'm fighting, I mean, I'm boxing with another person, even if I'm winning also, or I'm landing more punches than him, I'm also not happy, right? I'm also in trouble.
Noted, sir. Thank you.
It's a nice point, right? When a fight, is anybody happy? Both are in trouble. And when you say it's over, fight is over, then fight is over when the child is born itself, right? Then where is the fight? I think they're trying to say who's stronger maybe. But then again, even that is also not correct because Shadbala is the better way to find out whether a planet is weak or not. So I'll give you a clue that when the Yogakaraka has trouble and the fifth lord has trouble, surely there is bad luck in life. You know, he went through poverty. He worked as a watchman. A lot of poverty in his life. Okay. Which houses are called Lakshmi houses in a chart?
159.
Second and 11, sir.
Oh, simple 5-9. That's all. Never forget this. 5-9 is called Lakshmi. 1-4-7-10 is called Vishnu. Remember in the beginners class we said all this. 5-9. Ninth lord became the weakest and is in a fight. The fifth lord is in a fight. And fifth sign is occupied by Mars. So 5 and 9 had a problem. And instead of what bad luck that you want to fight for your own people and you not go to jail like our Mahatma Gandhi going in and out. 27 years inside. I mean, both fought for the same reasons. I think he was awarded Bharat Ratna, right? So, I mean, that was awarded by India. So, he's still for the good only. For the good he was fighting.
Sir, can we say that I think Maharishi says such strong Raja Yogas, which is the case here with the fifth and 10th lords being conjunct in the same degree, it eventually provides goodness throughout life, which means the legacy that he has left behind and the fame that he has after he passed is strong. So this has given a Raja Yoga eventually. Anyway. Yes,
but if the planetary war was not there, he would not have the wrong side of it, only the good side of it. Because he had to, it's like paying back something of his past life. And then finishing that, he is again given the result of the good things in his horoscope, like whatever we said just now. That's why this planetary war, if the person goes through the punishment, comes out of it, and is cleared up the mess that was created in the past, now you can take it as conjunction and say, they're together, Yogakaraka and fifth lord, second lord, everything, and he became the president. I think until his death, I didn't read the entire thing. But what bad luck to be only at such an old age, right? Towards the last part of his life, getting back what he wanted. So Saturn that way. So Saturn that way denotes old age, not getting it on. Not getting it on time, not getting the leadership on time. So whenever Saturn has problems, it is like this. It comes at a cost, a lot of anxiety. I think even our MGR in Tamil Nadu had some problem with his Saturn. So he was struggling for most part of his life. And then suddenly he shot into name, fame, and he made a lot of changes to Tamil Nadu. Okay, so we had a wonderful discussion, and we'll catch up again coming Saturday. And we have yet to discuss whether we can have this Sunday morning hours, Indian time. You can send me some messages. I'll see how many of you are okay with the morning. Maybe we can split it into 2 parts and do it. Something like 10 IST, 10 o'clock or 9:30 IST, Sunday. Okay. Just send me messages, private messages in WhatsApp. Okay.
So I just want to congratulate you, sir. Your dedication in sharing knowledge is exemplary, sir. The kind of detail, the kind of handholding you do for us, I think that's exemplary, sir. Thank you so much.
I'm doing what I think I was supposed to do. This is, some of you have been following me. this award I got is something I think it's something important.
I've been watching the videos, Guruji, but I have not come to the place where your speech is there. I mean, I've been watching.
No, I had problem with Saturn because, the mic kept going on and off, and I lost my, that flow. I was not interested in. It all depends on, since you people are listening, eagerly listening. I'm compelled to teach as much as I can. But sometimes I feel, I don't know what to say about that. So when it got interrupted, there was a loud thunder-like sound. It came from nowhere. It was almost like 10 times the sound of thunder when I said something about Saturn. And then after that, the mic never worked properly. Okay. So on the far right-hand side is the guy who always plays with numbers and cricket scores predictions. His name is, what's his name? Balaji Hassan. Okay. And this guy who's holding that frame has written, I think, 300 books. And that's very, I don't know whether it is true, but he said he has completed 300 books. All of them in Tamil. But yeah, I think he has a lot of, he's convinced with astrology. He's so much into astrology.
Yes, medical astrology is great.
Yeah, medical astrology, yes. So this is the award. Okay.
Beautiful award, Guruji.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Interestingly, there are 17 participants who are listening to you at this point.
I see
Including you, if I include you, it becomes 18, which is
you
good.
can't include me in this, right? Yeah, okay. I am outside. Yeah.
Sir, and the beauty is not that we are listening right now. If you continue your session for another 4 hours, we'll all continue listening, sir. So I think that is where the beauty lies.
Yeah, I know. But there is prarabdha karma, Like I could have done it very easily. I've done it several times. For hours I've spoken. I think I've spoken 9 hours continuously in front of an audience of about 200 people. And not one single person slept. They did not get up also. And I also
What was that about, sir?
It was in Bangkok.
And the topic, all the topics are about
Karma theory, philosophy related, sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, one thing, I always used to, think, my God, if this much came from the ancient, how much we would have missed out. How much was stolen, how much was destroyed. So so sometimes I feel, it's horrible to think that something can disappear completely. I cannot imagine, maybe we were not fated to get those things. So there must have been more in astrology. What is your opinion?
Absolutely, sir. There must have been more. We are only seeing a drop in the ocean.
Guruji, what surprises me is that they have been talking about these minute divisions of time at a time when the clocks were not existing according to modern day science.
Yeah.
The accuracy of the recording the birth time itself is fascinating. How could they have done it?
We have no idea. There wasn't any organized universities like what we have today. I can't even imagine how they could have done that. But I found out when the British wrote history and the British, became the leaders, whatever they saw, I think Egypt and Arabian side was closer to them, right? So they were thinking that astrology and all this is only from Egypt and those places.
And zero is also for Arabian or like that.
Greek.
Yeah, they think like that. That's why they call these numbers as Hindu-Arabic number later on. Because it's actually the entire thing was India, it seems. And that's the reason why when Prophet spoke about idol worship, how could there be idol worship there without Hinduism? You understand?
Yes, sir.
It should have been the entire thing up to this side, that side. You have when we went to Bangkok, Thailand, for our president elect training. The entire flight was only Rotarians. Nobody else was there. And even in the immigration, they had put a board saying "Welcome Rotarians." That is surprising. There's so much influence. Rotary has so much influence there, like in many parts of the world. So, what was I saying? Saying something I forgot.
Yes, you were mentioning history is spoken by the.
Yeah. So that particular area, when I checked, there are so much Hindus. They know Makara Sankranti. They're celebrating Makara Sankranti. They are having the Samudra Manthan story in the airport. Such a large.
And drama is everywhere.
Everything.
Sir.
Everything is there. Cambodia, this place, that place. So I think it must have been all over. Okay. So when they documented, they wrote according to whatever was in their proximity. So then they called it as how can they have only Roman numerals. So the entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0 alone cannot be a separate number, right? It should have been here only. All this 1 to 9 and then 0. The decimal system without which you cannot multiply bigger numbers and you can't divide, you can't do any of that. I don't know how they did it with Roman numerals. Huh?
It is said we had 13 universities that got burned down by the invaders.
That's what. So in that process, what we would have lost, I'll just show you a sample screen. Just look at this. 1 second. This is the 60 divisions of a sign. And whatever you see as M is malefic and B is good. So Kubera, the 4th division. So how do you do this? You start laying it out from Aries. That half a degree is Gora. The second half degree is Rakshasa. So Gora and Rakshasa will be on Gandanta. You now understand why. So as you put all this over the Rashi, if any planet occupies this small portion, it will get a different color. How many of us have the time to go through this at this much detail? When we are having computers, we could have computerized this, we could have used artificial intelligence or whatever, but nobody has done it. Whereas think about how they would have done all this maths. 60. After you make 60, this is for, it goes like this. And then into the next sign, female sign, you'll have to go reverse. You'll have to start from the reverse side. From Indureka, it will start and go backwards. And then the last part will be Gora. But only that 0 degree, 120 and 240 is the real Gandanta. So you will see some words. They have some special meaning. So each one of them we have to find out. And this is just the Sashyamsa. There are something called, I think they call it Nadiyamsa. 150. You divide a sign into 150. My God, how do you do that with when no watch was there, without the watch? Okay.
This also gives us a reinforcement of the fact that they had this divine vision, because at that time there was no statistics involved. I mean, normal people could not have recorded time and passed the information for research. So these rishis would have got it by the divine chakshu, they say, right? The divine chakshu, divine eyesight. So there was no statistics, nothing sharing there, no computers to store, record time. That is even more fascinating.
We also had sundials and moon dials. We can track moon and sun.
Yeah, but how much of data was needed from the layman, right? From the normal people to get collected and to validate. Compared to today, I think today we are living in an age where everything is accessible. So we don't know anything about what happened 10,000 or 15,000 years back. So we have to fall back on assumptions based on the proof that we see.
Correct.
20 years ago, when I was in the middle of some people in Germany, when people were criticizing me for wearing a Navaratna ring,
okay,
I gave a very convincing talk on why astrology is a real science based on statistics. And we call this as cyclostationary processes. Statistics is inherently built into this. I would be happy to go over this at some point of time, but that'll be more like an engineering talk. But the bottom line is, as long as there is a differences in house, you are most of the time you are talking about first house to third house difference, third house to seventh house difference, these things. Inherent in this, the observations are folded. This is what we do. Very sophisticated concepts like periodic periodogram, we call this in signal processing. They're all statistics. Just because they have not been written down does not in any way mean people have not discovered it. This is a discovery. This is not synthesis.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Do you have a standard presentation on this topic? Like are you prepared with it? Or maybe we
I
can
did
fix
that
up.
20 years ago. I do have some old document. I'll be happy
You can take
to
photos of it and create. We would help you create a slideshow with that.
I'd
Then
be
you
happy.
can, yeah, we can do that.
It's largely people like Subhash Kak and I at the time, we were working together on a few things, trying to tell people we have robust Vedic mathematics. Just because it's not written down does not mean we didn't do it. It's just a matter of knowledge is there for everybody to observe it from every direction. It's just the way that we documented it, and it's summarized by our gurus. We don't have to be the first ones. The question is that, are we the ones who have own inherent knowledge? And it is true, we do. And the written documents prove that.
Correct.
So digressing from the topic of astrology, I'm currently studying Sanskrit, and there's a very interesting subject that I'm soon going to study, which is Nyaya Shastram, which is basically Indian logic. And it is so beautiful, the way the arguments are built, how you can come to an inference, what is the logic to be applied. And if you see that there is no subject like that today, if people see that Nyaya Shastram, the beauty is amazing, sir. It's basically logic, how it should be applied.
Very good. So if all of you, I know some of you become experts in Sanskrit, then when we read these, smaller divisions, they have names for it. We could derive more meanings than depend on just a translator. Sometimes they also make some mistakes. So we can make it better, right? We'll do that.
Sure, sir.
Very good.
To learn Sanskrit would take around 5 years, Guruji, to at least be capable of...
Must be, yeah.
So I would beg to differ, sir. This whole desire to learn Sanskrit started about 4 months back, and I think I've made good strides. I can actually read very well now.
Surely. I'll do one thing. I'll take a photo of that Sashtyamsa and send it across to you. Maybe there is a mistake in that, the way it was spelled out in English. You can give some 3-4 meanings for each of the words in Sashtyamsa, whatever I showed you just now. Okay, I'll take a photo of it and send it to you.
Guruji, how do they do Kuri Jyosyam?
Huh?
How do they do Kuri Jyosyam?
What is that?
Kuri solradhu.
Kuri. See, I mean, that may not be astrology. Again, they will use some maybe Shakunam, what they call Nimittam, omens, symbols, sounds, several ways. Each person will use it in a different way. If they're using genuinely. So today morning when I was reading a chart, in my office, what they do is what dasha and antardasha person is going, they just do a marker like a bracket telling me this is the current dasha and antardasha. But today for the first time, the person in my office put the bracket under Saturn, which is some 7 years before. And the entire topic was only about Saturn in the horoscope. And today is a Saturday. So like this, we get a lot of, clues from nature. One day I was reading a horoscope of severe impact of Sade Sati going on because the client also said it's horrible time. And as I was reading, a tiny spider slowly came down from the wall. I kept observing it. And then it came onto the notebook and stayed in that place where Saturn is in the Rashi chart. And I kept staring at it. I thought whether it's going to move from there. It stayed there for some time and then went back. How many of you believe this?
No, I totally believe it, but I just don't understand what was the universe trying to tell us.
Spider is like with 8 legs, sir.
Yeah. Spider is. When I was in college days, my room was so badly maintained because I was upstairs. There was a separate room my father built for me. And I used to lock the door and did not allow anybody to clean the room. Okay. So those were the days I was so much into philosophy, reading all the philosophy books, Ramana Maharshi and things like that. So the room was never cleaned at all, all dirty. And my entire family is known for cleanliness. So they hated to come into my room. So they never come into my room. And now I'm going to tell you something which will be very difficult for you to believe. There were so many cobwebs all over the room. And most of the time, spiders were going over my body. And only once I got bitten. And that wound didn't heal for nearly 6 months. It kept opening. Again, blood will come out. Again, it will close. Again, it will open. It went on like that. But I still did not clean the place. Sometimes they did make an effort to get into my room. They saw the room and then, my mother said, nobody can be so dirty. All thick layers of cobwebs all over the place. So sometimes, you have to push the cobweb to look out for a book.
But you changed it, sir. When you changed it, sir, with respect to Saturn, your behavior.
No, it was the other side of Saturn. It is a neglect of the world. Not interested. Do you think real sannyas will take bath? They won't. But I used to take bath. Okay, that's a different thing. I always take that to everyday oil bath. Always I have to apply oil on my head. I cannot take a bath without that. Everyday bath was there, but I'm only saying about the room condition and the spider. So used to spiders. That's what I wanted to tell you. But this is a very strange thing, and I don't see it often also. Suddenly you don't see it for a long time. But this was too much. It came and sat in the place where the word Saturn is in the Rashi chart, and I kept staring at it. Okay.
Even animals have certain symbolic references in astrology, right?
No, Kishore, it's not about that, it seems. According to Carl Jung, It is what meaning I derive from this is the most important thing. It's called a causal connecting principle. If the cat crosses you, it is what you derive out of it. It's not about the cat itself. Very, completely different logic. Can you understand what I'm saying? If you don't draw a meaning out of this, there is nothing at all about the cat. But if you draw meaning out of it, it's a message, it seems. So if somebody else was seeing this, a spider coming to the notebook, so what? Nothing. It's only for me. This message is only for me. You better concentrate on this guy Saturn. You understand? Like in today's, that bracket. And the entire concentration was only about that planet. Nothing else. How will my staff do the bracket for a period that is so many years before? They never do it. So when a crow dropping falls on you, what meaning you derive out of it is alone the topic and not the crow dropping falling on you. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So how receptive you are to the message?
Yes. No. Not receptive. What you make of it.
Yeah.
That is what Carl Jung is telling in the word synchronicity. There is no connection except the meaning you are derived out of it. So when you believe this cat thing, it actually works. And that takes you to a different dimension of beliefs. You'll have some experiences like this. Yesterday, day before, somewhere, I suddenly looked at the door. It is actually locked. The door is closed. My daughter is, I know my daughter is at least 3 kilometers away with my wife. 3 or 4 kilometers. Because they're attending a party, a function. But I heard, like she's knocking on the door and calling me by name. And I looked at the door and I turned to the client, and the next second her call is coming.
That
We
was
were in the
yesterday.
class. Yeah.
We were there yesterday, Guruji, and we also saw you looking at the right-hand side, and then you got the phone call.
Yeah.
It happened yesterday.
Yeah. So these kind of things, we get these hints. Like, for example, one day when I was, when we were driving on the highway, the way this car went, for no reason, I just made a statement. He won't go for long. That's all. I don't know why I made this statement. And after some distance, when we reached one particular point, the car was toppled upside down. With all the people injured, the ambulance, the police, everybody was standing there. And the people said, "How did you say that?" And I said, "Do I say this often?" No. It just came like that. Okay.
So I would just like to share a small, since you're talking about message, sir, and I think it's important that I share it with you. I didn't want to share with many people, but for the group here, sir, my Sanskrit journey began on some very strange note, sir. I had a dream that there is a lot of negativity, and I suddenly start chanting God's name, and then that there is a figure running away, and then I'm saying some Sanskrit verses, and I'm saying to myself in my dream, what am I saying? I don't know. And suddenly I see a beautiful Lord Vishnu standing in front of me with a chakra. So then I met Carl Jung, dream reader in the US. Somebody connected me to him because that whole vision was so beautiful, so beautiful. Then he said to me that you should start learning Sanskrit. You have some, and the next day, sir, I was just online, and there was a last day for enrollment in a Sanskrit university, and the date was over, but they just took me in, So it was a beautiful message that came, and I just took it on. And today, that whole journey is so beautiful, sir.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Wow, Mahavishnu. It's so nice in your dream. Huh? You're lucky.
Yeah, it was a beautiful dream, Pavni.
The word, the name Carl J-U-N-G is pronounced as Jung. Okay.
It's German word, sir. Yeah.
The letter J it sounds like Y.
Like almost like
Janaki.
Yeah.
Janaki, they call Janaki.
Yeah, it's almost like that. Okay.
I had never heard of it before till I saw this dream, and then somebody referred me to him.
He's a Swiss psychiatrist who gave a lot of meaning to our experiences. But I was very much impressed with synchronicity. Therefore, I found out, it came to me that it's not about the planets. It's about the way you're deriving information from the planetary positions, if you extend on the same thing. Because I always maintain that the planets are not the cause of what is happening to us. It is only their indicators. So the best way to understand how planets are influencing us is not by the physical method. It's only by the acausal connecting principle idea. It's not really the cause. It's something else. So in the same way, the cat has got nothing to do with your accident on the road. Okay, it's something like that. And only human beings can do this. Well, most of us can do this. If you get, knock yourself in the door while going out, surely there will be a problem. But that surely is only based upon your belief. Whether you notice that and think, okay, there must be something wrong on the way. Okay. Anyway, I think we will end here. We'll catch up next Saturday. Oh, yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Prahlad,
you.
count
Thank you
down
so
as-
much, sir.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye.
Guruji.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Hari Om.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you.
It's 3.